Well, good afternoon. It's been an exciting day. I'm going to talk a little bit about Japan as a country and as a destination for mineral exploration and production. And then I'll give you some of my thoughts on Japan Gold and where we're going this year. Why Japan? Japan is probably the geopolitically safest jurisdiction in the world. It's stable, it's corruption-free. There's a very rich history of high-grade gold mining in Japan. There's 5 million plus ounce mines that have been producing in Japan, and it's a wonderful destination. The mining law, and one of the critical reasons that Japan Gold was formed was there was a change in the mining law in 2012 that allowed foreign companies to come into Japan for the first time in the country's history. And this was to really allow the mining industry to be reactivated. There's a very well-established regulatory framework in Japan. It's very easy to access government officials, and they've been very kind to take our suggestions in terms of the regulatory framework that's been built there now. They've got an extensive, very relevant, and very detailed database in Japan, and we've been able to access the full country database. Enormous areas of underexplored terrain and virtually limited or no competition. The background is really that in 1943, this country that had been a major gold producer had 76 active gold mines. And in the midst of the Second World War, the government closed all 76 mines and reallocated the personnel to base metal mines and to factories. That was basically the pause. After the war, only 12 of the 76 mines reopened. So 64 of the mines remain closed and really remain closed to today. Other elements that happened within the country also sort of led to a reallocation of the interests of the Japanese mining companies and trading houses to go abroad and start bringing assets back to Japan in form of concentrates. Japan Gold. Japan Gold was the first mover into Japan on the change of the 2012 mining law. The country was open when we went there. We were the first mover. We were the first accredited company to come into Japan. And we were able to assemble an extraordinary portfolio of 12 gold projects. The 12 gold projects now hold actually 42 of the 64 closed mines under their areas. So we have a dominant position. And these are predominantly low sulfidation epithermal gold deposits. We've got drilling commencing on 2 of our major projects in June, so just in a couple of weeks. Newmont Gold Corp is a major strategic shareholder with us at 19.9%, and we have a great institutional support from RCF and 2 very large Japanese funds. Here's a map of Japan. If you haven't been there, just taking you from the north, you have the island of Hokkaido, the central island of Honshu, where Tokyo is located, and then the southern island of Kyushu. And actually, I'll just highlight the ovals that are, there's 6 ovals on that map. That's the areas of high-grade gold mining through history. This is a quick snapshot of the 12 mines that reopened, not including the Hishikari, but going from the Sado Island down, or Sado Mine down, pardon me, which is on Sado Island. There are 12 mines. You can see the kind of ounce productions that they've made. The grade is quite high. It's good grade. They're located throughout Japan, and they all closed in the mid-70s or before, either because they'd been mined out or because the gold standard had decoupled and they were uneconomic. There was a dormant period after the mid-70s until 1981 when the Geological Survey of Japan, the Metal Mining Agency of Japan, were in the southern island of Kyushu. They drilled a scientific hole, a stratigraphic hole on some Sumitomo metal mining ground. They drilled down to the volcanic basement contact and quite accidentally went into the basement. And there they discovered the giant Hishikari mine. And this was under 4 very shallow historic mines, gold mines that had been on that property originally. The Hishikari mine, as many of you may know, has a wonderful endowment initially of 8.4 million ounces of 47.3 grams per ton. And I'll show you a quick picture of the vein if you haven't seen that. It's extraordinary. The production to date, over 7.6 million ounces, between 30 and 40 grams, and there are very significant reserves remaining there. One interesting point is the mine actually mines the ore, and the ore is predominantly direct shipped to a smelter, and the silica is used as flux in the smelter, so it's quite interesting. Japan Gold Corp has a substantial portfolio. We have our 12 gold projects that are highlighted in yellow on this map, and our 5 lithocap or potential porphyry projects highlighted in red. I'm going to take you to the southern island of Kyushu and give you a quick tour through Japan here. Here's Kyushu. The 2 light green areas in Kyushu are the gold provinces. In the southern gold province, that's where our 2 gold projects, the Ora Takamine project and the Tabaru project, are located. In the northern province, that's where the Kamatsui lithocap project is located. This is more of a detailed view of the mining district in the south. It highlights that our 2 gold projects straddle the Hishikari mine, and there's a number of other notable producers that have produced in excess of 10 million ounces in this area. I'm going to focus you on the Ora Takamine project because this is our first drill program in Kyushu. It's just starting, as I mentioned, in a few weeks. And initially what we identified was a 3.5 kilometer long alteration corridor that covered 3 different mines, the Arushi, Takamine, and Ora mines. And then as we evaluated the area further, we identified 2 additional mines, and so we extended it over about 7.5 kilometers to pick up the whole trend. Our drilling is focused on the 3 mines in the central region, and I'll show you what we're doing there. So basically, our plan is that we're going to be drilling under the old mines. We're drilling down to depths of between 100 and 400 meters below the mines, and we're really targeting the plunge and strike extensions of the previously mined chutes in those mines. So that's coming up. Now we're going to go 1,600 miles north. We're going up to the northern island of Hokkaido, so we're moving quickly here. In the light green area, the U-shaped area, that's the Kitami metallogenic province. We have 10 epithermal gold projects in Hokkaido. 9 of them are in this province, and they're outlined in red. There's 2 Graben features that have the cross-hatched white marks that demonstrate the areas of potential. I'm going to focus you on the right-hand side or the eastern side and a project called the Akutahara project. It lies directly south of the Kanamai mine, which was a past producer of 2.35 million ounces at just over 6 grams that closed in 1974. It's a Sumitomo metal mining asset, just like the Hishikari mine. So we'll zoom in on the Akutahara project. The Akutahara project itself covers about 200 square kilometers, but more importantly, it covers 17 historic underground gold mines or significant surface workings that were all closed in 1943, never reopened. There's never been a drill hole into any of these projects except a couple of scientific holes that we found that were drilled more recently. As we started to evaluate this area, we did significant work, all the sampling, the surveys, the geophysics, etc. We identified our first prospect that we're going to be drilling, which is outlined in the red oval. That red oval incorporates 6 of the historic mines that we have now determined are part of one large system that extends about 6 kilometers north-south and about 2 kilometers east-west. And that's where we're focusing our activities now. We call this the Kitano Gold District. Here's just 3 snapshots of rocks that were taken from mine dumps at 3 of the 6 mine sites. The takeaway is obviously they're low sulfidation epithermal rocks and they're high grade, but we're seeing an awful lot of very interesting material here. Something I found that might be interesting to the geologists in the crowd, this is a model that Dr. Richard Silito prepared in 1992, the classic epithermal model, and he actually prepared it on the Kitano Gold District. And so we're actually finding that a lot of our exploration work is validating what he saw in this model. Our phase 1 drilling at the Kitano mine is very straightforward, 3,000 meters. The Kitano mine is actually a giant hill, and it's almost a mountain. It's covered by a thick layer of sinter, over the top. And previously, the old-timers found significant clay layer that was running about 6 grams per ton underneath the sinter. 10,000 people moved to this small town. They built a 500-ton-a-day processing facility, that they were a gravity-fed facility, a major infrastructure, and they were scaling to 2,000 tons a day. When 1943 came along, they were shut down by the government. The place was abandoned, and no one's ever gone back. So this is where we're going now to drill below the sinter at what we think is the optimal depth level here. So basically what we're doing, we've divided the Catano gold field into 3 areas. We're going to be drilling West Catano and Central Catano, which is about 1.2 kilometers. We're drilling a series of scissored holes that, as I say, are basically going down to between 100 and 400 meters here as well, really targeting 200 to 250 meters below the sinter, where we think there is an optimal room. There was one geological hole, or one scientific hole drilled here from the top of the sinter to basement at 700 meters. And so it's a wonderful thick package for us to find those feeder zones. So we're looking for those. We've got a very strong board of directors. There were some comments earlier about geologists, not geologists, or whatever. We've got 3 geologists and 1 mining engineer, and everybody has been a mining executive on our board. I'll draw your attention to Mitsuhiko Yamada. Mr. Yamada is our representing director in Japan. He's my partner and mentor. He was previously the chief executive of Sumitomo Corporation, their global minerals division. And as part of his role there, he was responsible for making the billion-dollar decision, investment decision into the Batu Hijau mine, along with Bob Gallagher, who was the president of Newmont Nusa Tenggara at the time of that mine build. I'll just quickly keep moving here because I don't want to run out of time. In terms of our executive team, we have a very competent country manager with significant experience in Australasia that happens to speak 7 languages. We've got Takashi Kuriyama, who was previously the head of global exploration for Sumitomo Metal Mining. He was on Tech's board for the last 10 years, and he was, prior to that, the general manager and chief geologist at the Hishikari mine. He's an expert on Kyushu and that area. Dr. Oga is our chief engineer and our permitting expert. 2 advisors, Doug Kerwin and Steve Garwin, who are well known to our community and have had great success and are really actively involved and engaged in Japan. To summarize our strengths, we're the first mover in Japan. We've been very fortunate to put a substantial portfolio together. We've interacted with 3 universities now, where they're giving us the research they've done over decades and allowing us to identify new prospective opportunities. We're in areas that are really underexplored, where there's virtually been limited or little or no drilling to date, so we can really advance things with the drill bit, and it's a stable and corruption-free company. Our company has a proven track record, our team, of identifying mineral deposits and advancing them through to production. We've got the ability to finance, to build and operate resource companies. Our team are well experienced working in Japan. We now have 2 operational bases, one in Kyushu, one in Hokkaido. We've got 4 diamond core drill rigs that we've purchased and brought into country. We have 18 work permits for international expat drillers to come in and operate our rigs. And we're going to be drilling 2 projects coming up in June. Finally, our shareholder base, 32% is held by management, 19% by Newmont, 8% by RCF, 8% by 2 large Japanese funds, and 30% in our public float. Our market cap is $27 million today. Thank you for your time.